Good morning, everybody. I just want to talk to you for a moment. I want to talk to you about something that is near and dear to my heart. It's two stories, actually. Hopefully, you'll learn something. Hopefully, it won't sound like I'm trying to offend anybody, because I'm not. But I just want to tell it like it is. You know, when I was a child, I remember I was in elementary school. And I remember this particular crayon company come out with a big box of crayons, 64 colors, 64 colors, and I had my crayon box, and I think I had maybe 24 colors, maybe. I don't know. But I know I was outdated, because when I'd go to school, I remember all the non-African American children were using these crayons. They had the box, big box, and I wanted them, I wanted those crayons so badly, and I went to my mother and I asked my mother if she would buy me that big box, that 64 colors, big box of crayons. And my mother told me, son, I have better things to spend money on than those crayons. You'll just have to let what crayons you have, you'll have to make them do. But she said, however, I will give you money to buy yourself a pair of gloves, and my mother gave me $3 to go down to the department store to buy some gloves. And I knew in my heart of hearts that $3 wasn't going to no gloves. You better believe that. It wasn't going for any gloves. So I got down to the department store and went in there and I saw some gloves. I stole the gloves and took the $3 and bought these crayons. You understand? And when I left the store, I had to make a decision what I was going to do with those crayons. I knew I couldn't take them home, so I had to figure a way to keep the crayons, but yet not let my mother see that I had gotten them. So I decided that there was a particular place on the way to school that I could hide the crayons and, in the morning when I went to school, I could pick them up and go into school with them, you see. So anyway, I hid the crayons in a place where I knew I could pick them up. I went home that day with the gloves, and my mother said, son, let me see the gloves you bought. And I pulled the gloves out and showed them to her. And she looked angrily at me. She looked at me, and she looked at the gloves. She looked at me, and she looked at the gloves. And she said, "Son, I know you did not pay $3 for these gloves. I know you did not pay $3 for these gloves. Here I done stole the most expensive gloves in the department store. They were black leather, rabbit fur and lined, just good gloves, you know." So she said, "Well, I'll tell you one thing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wear your behind out. I'm going to wear your behind out for stealing these gloves." So she commenced to wear my behind out, and man, I'm hollering and hooping and carrying on something awful. You understand? And I was probably overdoing it because all along I knew after that behind beating, I still had those crayons. I still had those crayons hidden. So anyway, she sent me to bed with a sore behind. And the next day I got up to go to school. You know, sore behind it all. But I was happy that I'm going to get my crayons. And I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to be in there coloring the same as the other folks, you see. You know, so I headed out to school, and I stopped at the place where I had hidden the gloves, where I had hidden the crayons. And I got there, and the crayons were gone. Someone had stolen my crayons. Oh, I was mad. I was mad. And you know what? A thief, when someone steals from a thief, you know, a thief gets madder than anybody when someone steals from him or her. And I was that one. You know, I'd stole the gloves, and now someone stole my crayon. And I'm mad, you see. But anyway, I got to school, and I started thinking to myself, why did I steal those gloves? I was thinking, if I wouldn't have stolen those gloves, at least my behind wouldn't be as warm, because my hands would be warmer because I had the gloves. So I wouldn't have gotten that warm behind if I would have done the right thing. You understand? But anyway, I got in the classroom, and these kids were coloring with their crayons, 64 colors. 64 colors. And I'm upset, but I had to deal with it. So I want to make another point, and this is the main point behind wanting these crayons, 64 colors. You know, they had a color in that box of crayons, and the color was flesh, you know, and I wanted that. I wanted those because it always puzzled me about that color, because I kept thinking to myself, whose flesh is that color? Whose flesh is that color? It's certainly not mine. It's certainly not mine. So I assume that the crayon company didn't have any regards to black folks. You see, they're going to call this color flesh, sort of a pinkish orange color. They're going to call that flesh for everybody. That's everybody's flesh. And like I said, it certainly wasn't mine. So that always puzzled me. It always puzzled me. And that's why we need diversity in just about everything we do. We need diversity because so many times people or companies can be so insensitive to other races that they make like there's only race that exists when they create these particular products. Make like certain races, my race, black folks, don't count, you see. And the other story I want to say is that, have you ever had a problem? I remember, at least I did, I had a problem years ago with a sore shoulder. Sore elbow. And I had couldn't understand what was going on. And then I later on found out that it was bursitis. And I remember I got a hold of my doctor and I explained to my doctor what was going on. And he used this word redness. And I said, no, I don't see any redness, And then I guess the doctor more or less lost track of the fact that, I was not a person that redness would show up so easily on my skin, you see. And that's something else that I wanted to talk about, this word redness. On products, they say on the box, you'll see redness. But redness doesn't always apply to everybody. If I lived in Nigeria, and you mean to tell me on their boxes of medical products, they're going to talk about redness? You'll see redness? Redness. It's a word we need to be more cognizant about. At least the manufacturing companies need to understand that you're not dealing with just one group of people. There's other people that do exist, and some words don't apply to them. You understand? So I just wanted to share those two stories with you, and I wanted to talk about diversity. We need that more than ever. That's why we need it. So I hope everybody understands what I'm talking about. I'm always thinking, and I'm always on top of some of these things, and I like to make you understand or maybe think about something that you ordinarily didn't think about. I hope I made sense. Have a good morning, everybody. Keep diversity alive.